Hello students, welcome back to another session of the chapter Atoms and Molecules. So far we have discussed many things regarding this chapter, the discoveries, the findings, the coming up of the laws of chemical combinations, and thereafter the explanations of this law of chemical combinations made by John Denton. And accordingly we also discussed regarding the size of an atom. Today we shall discuss another important point that really led to a controversy or rather contradictions among the many scientists. Now thing is that as the time went on, the findings of the atoms became much more clearer with the scientists. Now newer and newer elements were being found out from time to time. New elements they were finding, and they could find the various masses present along with the element, and how these elements basically constituted, or rather what were the number of atoms, what was the mass beared by those atoms, all these things were coming into limelight and gradually they were processing. But one of the major contradictions or main problem that arose with regarding the naming of an element, right? Various names were being brought forwarded, but this really led to a confusion, because a particular element should have a particular name that has to be known by everyone. If from India someone is telling a name, from Russia someone is telling another name, from America another name, and this went on. This led to a various contradictions. Many people's views, many people's thoughts. Now here this is called as your modern day symbol of an element. What the modern days of symbol of an element we are getting that has came up with lot of contradiction and confusions and controversies that took place, and later on it was nowadays considered as a modern days of an element. So before the coming up of this modern days of symbol of an element, what all things happened initially? You see, my first point, there is many views, many thoughts. All right, so many people had many sort of views and many thoughts they had in their mind. Some of them thought that the elements that I have found, probably I am the person against whose name should be included within that particular element. Many thought that this is my place, and from this place, so the name of the element should belong from the place where it was found. Next, another thought that the environmental condition, maybe it's cold, so the name should intensify a name similar to that of the weather of the element. So in this way, many views, many thoughts were coming in this process, and this led to a contradiction and controversies. What one was telling, the other was not accepting, because everyone was trying to take that advantage of getting to be much more superior in this case, and this led to a lot of contradiction and controversies, as I mentioned. All right, so now you see, first thing that happened, that many views, many thoughts, as I told you. Next, you see symbols to be with the initials of an element. Now, some people came out with newer thoughts, and they mentioned, okay, forget about all these quarrels, everything. Let us come to the basic point, what we are discussing. We are finding out an element. We should concentrate or give the focus more on the element and try to express that element with not with our own personal likings, but with respect to an element. And as such, many say that symbol to be with the initials of an element. Maybe we find out a particular element, let us keep that name, and now the symbol of that element should be given by the initial name of that particular element. Say for example, hydrogen, it should be HI or HO. In this way they went on moving, giving their thoughts and view process. So this were one of this. Another, symbols to be expressed in definite quantities, as the mass was considered as a very important fact regarding the atom, and we already know that elements are constituted of atoms, and therefore the priority should be given to the mass of an element. As the number of atoms are present, accordingly the mass of the element also matters the most, and therefore a priority should be given to the mass of the particular element. So thus these sort of thoughts and views were continuously prevailing. Many thoughts were, some were acceptable, some were not acceptable, some were accepting with the views, some were not accepting with the views. All right, so this contradiction went on, these confusions went on, and this created controversy. Some, as I told you, some were accepting, some were not accepting. So this was not moving in a progressive way to be accepted worldwide, right? Worldwide, this is a perfect juncture which each and every people should know, right? Every people should get the basic idea, the basic knowledge regarding the atoms, the elements that were being discovered from time to time, right? A clear one view, one thought, one perfect information should be given. But with this sort of contradiction and confusion, this were not becoming possible. At last, I mentioned here order out of chaos. That means as a big chaos was going out, an order, an arrangement, the chaos could be stopped by organizing or forming an union. All right, forming an union, that is IUPAC. That is IUPAC. That is I stands for international, U stands for union, P stands for pure, A stands for applied, C stands for chemistry. So International Union for Pure and Applied Chemistry, this union was being formed. All right, this union was formed, and these unions had brought out with some perfect things that had to be accepted worldwide. Worldwide, a common name should be there, or a scientific name should be given which shall be accepted worldwide. For example, I am giving you a view or giving you an example regarding a fish in Assam, what we call as the fish called as the bhokua, right? All of us might be knowing this fish, that is your bhokua. If you move to West Bengal, it won't be called as your bhokua, it would be called as katla. All right. So similarly, many names, maybe out of these two states, other states might have different types of name. Even if you move to other countries, probably they would be giving other type of name. A lot of things are taking place. But one perfect name should be known by each and everyone, that has to be accepted worldwide. Maybe a local name might be there, but a scientific name should be there which will really mean what that exact species is. Alright? Accordingly, in biology we have got different types of scientific names. In order to rule out the local names that really creates the confusion, we have such sort of scientific naming by certain unions. Similarly, in chemistry also, this is a subject that we are dealing in chemistry. So this subject chemistry also has a union, that is your International Union for Pure and Applied Chemistry. So International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry comes up with certain ways of naming an element, alright, and that has to be accepted worldwide. Till then, that time, the IUPAC, when it was being formed, alright, IUPAC when it was formed, the IUPAC had an intention that whatever names they have given, it has to be accepted worldwide. And further to this, the newer element that would be discovered from time to time, alright, the newer elements that would be discovered from time to time has to undergo certain rules and regulation before giving a name to that particular element. So those certain rules were as such that the names of the element should be written with initial capital letter. For example, if I take the example of aluminium, you find in modern days time, this is the modern day symbols that we find, we write the aluminium as, we write the aluminium as A, this is your A capital, and L is your small letter. So this is the case with aluminium, that the initial letter should be written in capitals, and followed by, if we are giving another letter, we are adding to that particular symbol, then that letter has to be written in small letter. Alright, this was one of the things. If it is a single lettered symbol of an element, then that letter has to be written only in capital letter. Again, the thing is that it is not like that the first two letter has to be taken. The first letter has to be taken from the name of the element, initial. Say for example, zinc. Alright, zinc if we are taking, so we write the Z in capital letter. Alright, we write Z in capital letter. Okay, now if you look at the spelling of the zinc is ZINC, but we have not chosen I. Not we, IUPAC has not decided in this way that the letter that are coming after the initials may be randomly picked up. That is, it is not necessary to pick up I from the zinc as we have chosen from aluminium. Aluminium has got a spelling ALUMINIUM. So the second letter is L, and thus we have put L. but it is not compulsory that we all the time we have to choose the second letter. Randomly we can take the take any letter, but it has to be written in small. All right, Zn. So this is the third letter is your N, and thus we have written Zn. So in this way, IUPAC has from time to time reformed and fixed a symbol for a particular element. So these were the ways. So in order to rule out any sort of confusion or chaos, the IUPAC, International Union for Pure and Applied Chemistry, had led to that scenario where a particular scientific name would be there which would be accepted worldwide. So these are what these are something that we need to understand, we need to focus in order to understand the practical aspect of atomic theory. In the coming days, I shall be coming with much more videos to explain you the vivid structure of atom. So till then, thank you.